and welcome to the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. It's the season opener and we're here at Brands Hatch. Now our grids have gotten even bigger from last year and Ali Bray Motorsports is having to look after 9 of our championship cars this time round. One of which being Ollie Allwood, who we all know is a season contender for a championship win. However, Will Blackwell Chambers is back to try and defend his championship title. Can he do it, especially with this many cars on the grid? We'll have to wait and find out. We're going to jump straight into race 1, so Andy, over to you.
Thanks very much, Lindsay. Well, the cars are about to line up on the grid ahead of the opening round here at Brands Hatch. John Langridge gets the first pole position of the season with Brian Trott alongside. Will Blackwell Chambers, the reigning champ, is third alongside Ollie Allwood, with Joe Wiggin making his debut 5th on the grid. Stuart Simmons alongside him. Ben Short, Adam Bessel, David Waters and Steve Foden round out the top 10. An interesting 7th row of the grid there. Martin Tolley and Adam Craig, the only 2 drivers in the field to have competed in every season of the championship. They are true veterans of the category and will be looking to move forward from there. It's a 31 car grid for the season opener. This is only half of the entry though. Once again we have A and B groups. If you finish at the back of the A group you'll be demoted to the B race later on, and vice versa. The top 5 finishers from the first B race, they will get promoted onto the A grid. You can only score maximum championship points though for winning an A race, so this is an important one. The season about to get underway here at Brands Hatch. The lights go out now and we are racing in 2019. Who gets to Paddock Hill Bend first? It will be John Langridge from pole position. Contact there between Ollie Allwood and Joe Wiggin getting stuck in straight away, and it wasn't a great start by Brian Trott. He's down to 3rd already, with Blackwell Chambers jumping into 2nd position on board with David Waters towards the back of the top 10 as he slides his way through paddock for the first time. Langridge leads the way, Short in 2nd place, 3rd place for Brian Trott, lock up there for Stuart Simmons and Joe Wiggin into the back of him as well. Welcome to the Mazda MX-5 Championship, Joe Wiggin, immediately trading paint with his other competitors, but that was a really impressive qualifying effort from the former BMW Compact Cup race winner, and he's immediately finding just how robust this racing gets. Stuart Simmons is now into the side of Ben Hansey. Simmons' rear bumper is hanging loose as well and in danger of falling off, and Joe Wiggin says, thanks very much, I will dive straight past the pair of you and gain 2 more places. So a robust opening half lap of the season, and it's not over yet. There's more pushing and shoving. Steve Foden getting stuck in there with the 107 car of Jake Bailey from 17th on the grid. Jake Bailey, the red and white car on the outside line, is really making forward progress. What would you expect though from a multiple race winner in the MX-5 Super Series last year? Across the line we go then at the end of an eventful opening lap of the season, and it is still side by side throughout the field. There is Jake Bailey on the outside line going in towards Paddock Hill Bend, on board with David Waters, who he is trying to go around the outside of, and I think Jake Bailey is going to do it, or is he? No, Waters holds onto the inside line. Andy's got his nose in front going towards Druids. Under the bridge they go, late as you dare on their brakes, but that was too late for Waters. He slides out wide, he's in the gravel, he's in the wall, and David Waters, unfortunately, in trying to defend that position, has overcooked it and found the barriers miraculously though. I think I was going to say he might be able to dig his way out of the gravel trap. That unfortunately may not be the case, and that could result in our first safety car of the season. Allwood slow off Graham Hill Bend for some reason there, and so Blackwell Chambers thought about pulling alongside, but in the end decided not to. This is all just allowing the leading 3 to escape slightly. Yes, it is still just about a leading 3. I don't think Wiggin is really quite close enough to attack Ben Short for the time being. But if the leaders start to really trip over each other again, Wiggin will be there in a flash. In fact, I think he's going to get there anyway. He's got the pace to close in on the leading 3. Allwood and Blackwell Chambers holding each other up as well. They're fighting for 5th, and so the 2 blue and white cars becoming a bit detached now from what is fast becoming a quartet of cars fighting for the race leader. Brian Trott sideways through paddock that time. I don't know whether John Langridge got into the back of him. I don't think he did. I think Trott just got a bit sideways over the crest there. He's clearly struggling to fend them all off, but that's hardly surprising really. He's been a very busy man in this race, and he has made that the widest Mazda MX-5 in existence to keep John Langridge at bay. It was a phenomenal move that Trott pulled on Langridge at paddock earlier on in the race, a move that Langridge has not been able to replicate. So Trott, excuse me, for now, doing everything he needs to, but this is going to be a long final couple of laps for Brian Trott if he's going to be able to hold on and take the first victory of the year. As I said, 8 times on the podium last year with Brian, didn't manage to lift the winner's trophy. Could today be the day that he manages to do it? Across the start-finish line they go again. John Langridge onto the final lap of the race, and Trott holds the inside line. Langridge sort of in the middle of the road because he's trying to attack and defend from Ben Short at the same time, and Joe Wiggin is there with them as well. So it's 4 cars for the lead with less than a lap to go. They all sort of hug the white line down the inside, apart from Joe Wiggin, who is going for 3rd place. Can't quite get it right round the outside at Druids. Had he been able to do that, he'd have had the inside line for Graham Hill Bend, but Ben Short was wise to it, carried enough speed through the right-hander to be in front for the left-hander, but that means that John Langridge is not really under any pressure now as they come towards Surtees for the final time. That could free him up to have a go for the race lead. There's traffic in front of them, but I don't think they're going to catch it before the flag. 2 more corners to go, and this is really the last overtaking opportunity, and I don't think Langridge is going to do it. He's in the slipstream there as they come out of the corner, takes a much wider line, carrying the speed onto the pit straight, but Brian Trott, with a phenomenal move to take the lead earlier on, is going, I think, to hang on. Yes, he is. Brian Trott wins the opening round of the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Championship. A fantastic race it was too, with John Langridge in 2nd position, Ben Short 3rd, with Joe Wiggin, Ollie Allwood and Will Blackwell Chambers to round out the top 6. Adam Bessel was 7th, and look at the gap back then to Matt Luff in 8th, Stuart Simmons in 9th and Steve Foden rounding out the top 10. Adam Craig was 11th ahead of Jason Graytrek, Seb Fisher, Jake Bailey and Martin Tolley, who dropped down to 15th by the end. Ben Hansey with a disappointing race in 16th as well. We had a couple of non-finishers. Dave Waters we saw have that moment at Paddock Hill Bend. We also lost, unfortunately, Will Hayden, whilst Ben Short, 3rd in the race, set the fastest lap. A really competitive start to the season though, and we've got 2 more A races still to come.
Ben, what a fantastic way to open a season, 3rd place.
Yeah, it was quite a good race. Didn't qualify that well because I didn't do any testing on Friday, so it was quite fun overtaking a couple of cars. But unfortunately, once I got to the front, it just became a bit of a train, and we were just driving around with the 3 of us really. I couldn't find anywhere to overtake, but did get fastest lap, so that's really good as well.
So obviously it's puts you in a good stint for tomorrow. You got any ideas of how you're going to fend tomorrow?
Yeah, so the guys and girls at BS Motorsport are working their magic on the car, and we couldn't unfortunately get hold of another rim protector, so we've had to take the other 3 off to get the balance back. But yeah, looking forward to tomorrow. It should be a good quick car.
Brilliant, we wish you the best of luck.
Cheers, mate.
Race 2A is about to get underway and the grid is packed. We have Brian Trott in position 1, but John Langridge was only 1.1 of a second behind him. Now, see if I can very quickly get a hold of him. Brian, have you got a game plan? Because obviously John was only a 0.2 of it behind you yesterday.
There won't be any game plan. As per normal Mazda racing, anything can happen, so I'll just be getting it off the line as best I can, which will be better than yesterday, hopefully, and then we'll just get into the race and see how it goes. Obviously the plan is to do roughly the same, but you know, we'll see.
Well, the sun's on your side this time, so best of luck.
Thank you.
Right, we're going to hand it straight over to Andy to run you through all the action.
Yeah, thanks Lindsay. Well, we've got bright and sunny conditions greeting us here this morning for race 2A. Brian Trott on pole because he won yesterday's race, indeed the whole grid based on the result from yesterday. So Langridge 2nd, then Ben Short and Joe Wiggin looking for that podium on row 2. Ollie Allwood on row 3 with Will Blackwell Chambers, who's got some work to do, from 6th on the grid. Just outside the top 10, Adam Craig and Jason Graytrek, they should move forward. So too should Ben Hansey from 16th on the grid, got muscled out in the early stages. We've had our first B race as well since the A cars were last out, and the top 5 finishers from that race have been promoted onto the back of the A grid. So Tom Smith, Charles Mugglestone, Jack Moody, Richard Baxter and Michael Nibbs, they were the top 5 from the first B race, and they'll all be looking to build on that now and keep themselves out of the bottom 5 relegation positions in this one. So the green flag waves at the back of the grid. Brian Trott from pole position. Is he going to be able to fend them all off for another 20 minutes? Let's see. The red lights go on. They go out now. And we're racing once again in the Mazda MX-5 Championship. Race 2A here at Brands Hatch. Trott on the inside, Langridge on the outside, and Langridge is going to go through. John Langridge carries more speed off the line and gets the lead away from Brian Trott on the run into Paddock Hill Bend. On board with Lewis Cannon. That's Scott Leach behind us in the blue and yellow number 13 car. I think Cannon's going to stay in front as he goes to the outside lines. Ben Short side by side with Langridge for the race lead there, as the usual locking up of brakes takes place into Druids for the first time. 2 and 3 abreast, but they're all going to get through just about in one piece, I think, and they drop down the hill into Graham Hill Bend. More locking up there. That's Stuart Simmons getting stuck in again, and right round the outside of him goes Steve Foden. We're on board with Steve now in the number 77 car, and he gains a place, fully utilising that newly installed tarmac runoff area on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. Now it's Adam Craig in front of him as he goes down the brakes, and oh dear me, once, twice, 3 times into the back of Adam Craig's car as they all sort of run into each other as the natural concertina effect takes place at clearways. And unfortunately, I think Jason Graytrek's the big loser there. He gets muscled out of line by, is that Jake Bailey? It might be one of several red cars. fastest, and is Jake Bailey going up the inside of him. But the leaders complete the opening lap, and is Langridge leading the way. Ben Short in second, and Brian Trott down to third. So not a great start there for the race 1 winner, Brian Trott. We saw in race 1 he's capable of pulling off some really good overtaking manoeuvres. He'll have to pull a few more out of the bag in this one if he wants another race victory. Langridge leading the way, Ben Short in second. These two followed each other nose to tail for most of the second half of race 1, but it was for second place, not the race lead. So now Ben Short, who got that first, that one win last year at Donington Park in his 1 appearance in the championship, if he is sticking around for a full season this year, he will be looking for race wins right off the back and consistent points finishes as well, because the BS Motorsport driver is definitely a championship contender if he's here for a full season. John Langridge will also be in the championship equation, I'm sure, so Ben will want to beat him here if at all possible. Leading 5, pulling away slightly here at the end of lap number 2, and Joe Wiggin, although he's lost a position again off the start, he started 4th, he's now 5th, but he is going with the leading quartet this time around, so the podium definitely the target in this race. At the back, lots of battling going on as they stream across the line, and there is another one of the BS Motorsport cars trying to make a move, and doing so, diving up the inside at Paddock Hill Bend. That's Tom Smith, the race 1B winner, and he makes his way up another position there. That was a nice move on Charlie Rawls going into Paddock. Rawls, who started in 17th, Smith 27th, so either Smith's gained lots of positions or Rawls has lost lots of positions, or possibly a combination of the two, not too sure. Martin Tolley there finds himself in a Jake Bailey-Ben Hansey sandwich. On board with Martin now, very experienced racer in the championship, as we documented, and he's trying to get past Jake Bailey here if at all possible, whilst also trying to avoid losing a position to Ben Hansey behind. Matt Luff that's now been dropped from this group, so 7 cars for the lead on this occasion as they head towards Clearways. Blackwell Chambers seems to be trying to set up this nice wide line into Clearways to then carry the speed along the start-finish straight, and it's working because again he's closer to Langridge than Short is to him. On board with Blackwell Chambers now as he's in the toe. Now is he close enough to attack? Probably not on this occasion, but Langridge therefore may not feel the need to defend, and he doesn't. He goes to the outside line and Blackwell Chambers goes for it up the inside. Oh no, there's contact! There's contact, and off goes John Langridge into the gravel. Oh, what a disaster for John Langridge, who had led all the way in this race, and it is all over. He's in the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend, and will Blackwell Chambers gets the lead. Now there will most definitely be a discussion about that after the race. It didn't look as though Blackwell Chambers was close enough really, but then Langridge left the door wide open, and any racing driver in their right mind would have tried to go up the inside, I'm sure. Well, they'll discuss that in the paddock after the race, but for the time being, it is Blackwell Chambers that has the lead, and Ben Short inherits 2nd place, Brian Trott in 3rd. We said that Blackwell Chambers was good off Clearways, good on the brakes into paddock, and he was just it was the perfect storm really, wasn't it? He was just far enough behind Langridge that Langridge didn't feel that he needed to defend, but he was just close enough that actually Langridge probably should have defended. There will, I presume, be yellow flags out of Paddock Hill Bend, so there's no way through for Ben Short. No, there aren't any yellow flags actually. Oh yes, there are there at the next marshal's post, so no need to defend that time around for Blackwell Chambers as they now go past the stricken car of John Langridge. Now, is that going to result in a safety car, I wonder? It's right in the firing line should anyone else go off, and of course it's limiting the overtake opportunities. And yes, the safety car comes out for the first time this year in the A races, at least the safety car is out. And well, what a shame that that battle had to end that way. I've literally just been saying how clean they were keeping it, and then the first real bit of contact we've seen all weekend from the A drivers. Ben Short, as I said, we don't know yet whether he's back for a full season, so it may well not be that relevant here for Blackwell Chambers. We're on to the final lap of the race, though. Ben Short with a bit more of a gap now over Will than he had a lap ago. No need to defend, which means that there won't be that mega run up the hill for Blackwell Chambers, and he's going to have to spend the rest of the lap trying to get back onto his tail. Meanwhile, it's all going on for 3rd. Look at Joe Wiggin moving over to the inside of the road, keeping Trott behind for now, but Brian Trott eager to get back on the podium. A win and a 3rd place would be an awful lot better than a win and a 4th place for Brian Trott in the first 2 races of the year, and the idea that points mean prizes will not be lost on Brian, I'm sure. Meanwhile, at the head of the field, Blackwell Chambers having a look at the inside at Surtees. Surely not, he's going to go for it, is he? No, not quite. Penn Short was always going to turn in there, I think, regardless of what Blackwell Chambers was doing. Will won't want to risk another bit of contact with the race leader. He's already got that slight cloud hanging over him after the contact with John Langridge, but on the run to the flag, I don't think he's going to be able to get himself alongside Ben Short, and it is going to be Ben that takes the race victory in race number 2A here at Brands Hatch. Ben Short wins, Blackwell Chambers in second, and Joe Wiggin does it. He's on the podium in only his second ever appearance in the championship. A fantastic opening weekend to the season for Joe Wiggin. He is definitely going to be a championship contender before the season is out. The rest of the field streaming through behind, and Ollie Allwood, who finishes 5th in the end, he got the fastest lap in that race, so that's worth a bonus point. It's Ben Short with the victory though, Blackwell Chambers 2nd, and Joe Wiggin on the podium in 3rd. Brian Trott is 4th, with Ollie Allwood 5th, then Adam Bessel, Stuart Simmons, Steve Foden, Adam Craig, and Martin Tolley down in 10th. Jake Bailey was 11th, ahead of Jason Greytrek, Sebastian Fisher, Scott Leach and Ben Hansey. Now, the relegation position, there was only one non-finisher, which was John Langridge, so he will be relegated. So too will Nick Ledoyen, Michael Nibbs, Charles Mugglestone, Pete Tyler, and Richard Baxter. So Mugglestone and Baxter and Ledoyen, in fact, they were all promoted. No, Ledoyen wasn't, sorry. Mugglestone and Baxter were promoted from the previous race. They are straight back into the B race, though, for race 3 later on this afternoon. John Langridge, though, a retirement, not what he needed.
Ben, finished 2nd yesterday, come 1st today. That was a good race for you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Guys worked really hard on the car last night. We made those little changes, lost those rim protectors, which I think were slowing me down with the aero, and it just made all the difference today. So, yeah, car had really good punch, good grip. We're just going to try a little bit harder in race 3 and see if we can make it 2 for the one weekend.
Last and final round here for the Mazdas at Brands Hatch. Now we've got Ben Short starting on pole position, followed very closely by the last 2-year championship winner, Will Blackwell Chambers, so it's going to be interesting to see how they got off the line. Now, obviously, we've got Joe, newcomer, in 3rd, and Brian, who got his first win yesterday, in 4th, so he's going to be hungry to get back on that podium. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch, jam-packed of action, so we're going to hand it straight over to Andy to run you through it all.
Well, we've had 2 fantastic races already today at Brands Hatch. The 3rd one, I'm sure, will be just the same. Ben Short and Will Blackwell Chambers share the front row of the grid, with Joe Wiggin and Brian Trott next, then Ollie Allwood and Adam Bessel, Stuart Simmons and Steve Foden. Again, this result based on the based on the result from race number 2A, and this is the final opportunity for a maximum points score this weekend. The 5 drivers promoted from race 2B are at the back of the grid, as always, and they are William Hayden, Marcus Bailey, Dave Waters, Thomas Jenkins and Richard Wotton. So a 32 car grid this time, and it will be very, very interesting to see who comes out with the 3rd race victory. Will we get 3 different winners for the weekend, I wonder, or is either Ben Short or Brian Trott going to be able to bring home 2 victories for the weekend? Well, let's find out. The lights go out. It's a good start made by both front row men, in fact. Joe Wiggin slots into 4th position. Not a great start made by Ollie Allwood, though. He's the blue and white car going backwards, and he could lose several positions on the run to Paddock Hill Bend. On board with Richard Wotton in the number 3 car off the back row of the grid, having finished inside the top 5, in fact, in 5th place in race 2B, and he is already starting to make progress from the back of the field. Up the hill we go, and into the right-hand hairpin at Druids. A couple of cars sporting a bit of damage from earlier on there. On board with Lewis Cannon again, who's been solidly in the midfield in all 3 of the A races so far this weekend. Good solid start to his season. The number 91 car behind him there, trying to make a move, but to no avail as they turn through Graham Hill Bend back along the Cooper Straight. Tom Smith trying to get through. Tom, who was promoted from the first B race and actually finished 19th in race 2A, so really working his way up the order nicely as the weekend goes on. But through clearways we go then. For the first time of asking there, Jason Greytrek, Martin Tolley and Scott Leach are the 2 drivers right behind him. We're on board with Tolley, looking back at Leach with that distinctive livery on the front of his car. And he will be licking his lips at the prospect of getting stuck into another battle here with Martin Tolley, but he's dropping back a little bit as they cross the line. Into the braking zone at Paddock. Cement dust down there from an earlier race, and that will just maybe be limiting the grip and the traction a bit as they turn into the corner. There's no lack of traction and grip though, and certainly no lack of inspiration for Ollie Allwood, who was trying to go right around the outside of everybody. I think he's going to get at least 1 place out of that at the expense of Adam Bessel, and in fact Adam could lose out to Steve Foden if he's not too careful. But sometimes when everyone else goes to the inside at Druids, you can if you've taken your brave pills, go charging around the outside of everyone and actually gain a couple of spots just by braking so much later than everybody else, even though you're going the long way round. It's fraught with risk, but it can work. At the head of the field then, it is Ben Short leading the way. It's Brian Trott in second, Blackwell Chambers third, and Joe Wiggin, I think, has lost a position, at least a position, at the start of every one of the 3 races this weekend, in 5th position. But what he lacks for in progress at the start of the race, he more than makes up for as the race goes on. He'll be looking to try and double up on podium results in this one if at all possible. Very close to Will Blackwell Chambers as they cross the start-finish line. The 2 blue and white cars almost touching under braking. Blackwell Chambers defends the inside. Can Allwood get the switch back on the exit of the corner? Doesn't look like it. So still the status quo remains with Short, Trott, Wiggin, Blackwell Chambers and Allwood being the order, but Ollie Allwood is the man who's free to attack at the back of the group, and attack he does. Goes to the outside at Druids, forces Blackwell Chambers to defend, and again down into Graham Hill Bend. This is going to detach Blackwell Chambers from the leading trio, which takes the pressure off Joe Wiggin as well. And he's going to have to defend again into Surtees looks, and Blackwell Chambers may be waving goodbye to his podium prospects here slightly, because I don't think he's really going to have enough time left now to reel in the top 3 again. Not a million miles in front, but in Mazda MX-5 Championship terms, that is an absolute age. A 3 or 4 car length advantage is fairly comfortable really in this championship, and that's what Joe Wiggin enjoys now over Blackwell Chambers behind him. Across the start-finish line we go, though, onto what I believe is going to be the final lap of the race. Yes, it is the final lap of the day for the A drivers, and Ben Short leading them round. Is he going to be able to hang on, or can Brian Trott beat him to his second victory of the weekend? He's sort of looking from left, right, left, right, left, right. Which way am I going to go? Trying to keep Ben Short guessing, but Ben is experienced enough an MX-5 driver to know which way to go. And the inside line is always the best place to defend, and that's what Ben Short did, so he holds on again. Brian Trott in his wheel tracks though, not really feeling the pressure here from Joe Wiggins, so if Brian wanted to really try and take this wide line into clearways and try and get the slingshot to the line, that could be his best available option. Into the final corner they go. That's exactly what he does. Look, goes wide in, cuts back to the late apex, knowing that Wiggin isn't close enough to get up the inside, but actually Trott, I think, just ran a bit too deep on the brakes there, and he is not going to get there. So it will be 2 wins from 3 for Ben Short, and he will be your early championship leader. A brilliant weekend for Ben Short. 3 podiums, and 2 of those podiums were race victories. Brian Trott second, and Joe Wiggin gets another podium result as well. And that was a brilliant weekend's work for Ben Short, who wins the 3rd A race at Brands Hatch. Brian Trott in second, Joe Wiggin third, then Blackwell Chambers and Ollie Allwood round out the top 5. Stuart Simmons was next ahead of an impressive Steve Foden, Adam Bessel, Adam Craig and Matt Luff round out the top 10. Then Tolley again just outside the top 10 with Jason Greytrex, Matt Pollard, Lewis Cannon and Sebastian Fisher round out the top 15 finishers. Scott Leach there recovered to 30th, that's as far as he got after his early spin. Just behind Thomas Jenkins. Fastest lap, as I said, goes to Oliver Allwood, as it did in 2 of the 3 races, with Peter Tyler and Richard Rutten at the back, but no non-finishers from that race. It was a clean race and another really, really close one. That was the biggest winning margin in any of the 3A races. It was an enormous 0.4 of a second.
Brian, you were hungry to be back on this podium.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend, and Brands isn't necessarily one of my favourite tracks or somewhere I go well at, so I've definitely improved here, I can say that much. I mean, getting a win, a 4th, which should have been a 3rd, and a 2nd place here, I can't be unhappy. The car's been excellent. I could do it a bit more waft down the straights, but apart from that, the car's handled perfectly. We've done a really great job. My racecraft was brilliant, especially in race 1 yesterday, to hold them all off. And so I'll go away from here a happy man.